Hey there, in today's video we're going to be going over the 2022-2023 TMSCA General Math Test number 11. Let's do it. Alright, number 31. If 8 over x is equal to 18 over x plus 5, what is the value of x over 5? Alright, so this is a proportion right here. 8 over x is equal to 18 over x plus 5. When we have a proportion like this, we can simply find the value of a variable in it, right? So let's say we're trying to find x here. We can find this by multiplying this denominator with this numerator and this numerator with this denominator. So this would be 8 times x plus 5 is equal to 18x. Alright, 8 times x is 8x. And 8 times 5 is 40. So that's 8x plus 40. And that is equal to 18x. Now, let's bring x all by itself. So if we subtract 8x from here, it cancels out. But we also have to subtract 8x from here. So this becomes 10x. So now we have 10x equals 40, which means x equals 4. So now we have x equals 4. Alright, so we're trying to find x over 5. We know that x is just 4, so that's 4 over 5. Now all the answers are in decimal. So 4 over 5 in decimal is just 0.8, and that's your answer. Alright, next up, number 32. 120 miles per hour equals how many feet per second? Alright, so when doing problems like this, you have to know this one conversion. 15 miles per hour is equal to 22 feet per second. If we know this, we can solve any of these problems. Alright, so all we have to do is, we have 120 miles per hour, and we're trying to figure out how much that is in feet per second. So really, the only thing we have to do is, you see from here 15 to here 120, what is the factor? Like, what are we multiplying by to get from 15 to 120? Once we find that, we just do the same thing right here. Alright, so let's see. So, 15 to 120. Well, 15 times 8 is 120, which means we're multiplying by 8. So if we multiply this by 8 as well, we get 22 times 8. 22 times 8 is 160 plus 16, which is 176. So the answer is 176 feet per second. And that's your answer. Next, number 33. What is the amount of money in a bank account that opened a simple interest account depositing $1,000 at 5% for 18 months? Alright, so the bank account opened this simple interest with $1,000 at 5% for 18 months. So the formula for simple interest is price times rate times time. So we have 1,000 times 5%, which is just 5 over 100, times 18 months. So how do we represent that 18 months as a number? Well, we're going to convert it to years. So 1 year is equal to 12 months, which means 18 months is equal to 1.5 years. So we're going to write a 1.5 here. Alright, so let's do this. So first, let's do 1,000 times 5 and then over 100, right? So when you have this over 100, you can just cancel this out and take away 2 zeros from here. So this is just 10 times 5. So now this is all 10 times 5, which is just 50. So we have 50 times 1.5. 50 times 1.5 is 75, meaning the interest is $75. Now when you combine that with the original $1,000 at the beginning, that's 1,000 plus 75, which is 1,075, and that's your answer. Next, number 34. 3.6 times 10 power 7 times 2.5 times 10 power 6. Alright, so this is actually pretty simple. So first what we need to know is, we need to know what 3.6 times 2.5 is. So that's just 9. 3.6 times 2.5. That gets us 9. Alright, so we can automatically cross off C and E. But first, what is scientific notation? Well, scientific notation is a way of writing a number in the form of A times 10 to the power of B, where A is the number between 1 and 10. Alright, so 9 is going to be our A value right here. So that's why we crossed off C and E, because it has the A value of 6.1, which is not 9. Alright, now how are we going to solve this problem? Well, what we need to do here is, we've already multiplied the 3.6 and the 2.5. Now we need to multiply the 10 power 7 and 10 power 6. So when you do that, we have 10 power 7 times 10 power 6. So these two are the same term, just with different exponents. So when multiplying the same term with different exponents, all you have to do is just add the exponents. So this becomes 10 power 13. So that's our b value. We get 13 for the exponent for b. So when we write it out in scientific notation, our a value is 9, then times 10 to the power of b, which is 13. And we'd get that, and that's our answer. Next, number 35. In line AE below, AB equals 2x minus 1, AC is 5x minus 14, BD is 4x minus 2, CE is 5x minus 14, and AE equals 92. What is the value of x? Alright, so this is actually a pretty simple problem. So let's draw this out. We have A, B, C, D, E. This is not drawn to scale. I'm just drawing a line. Alright, so this is our line right here. So at the first point, we have A, then we have B, then we have C, then we have D, then we have E. Alright, so they're saying that A to B is 2x minus 1. And A to C from here to here, that is 5x minus 14. And they're saying that B to D is 4x minus 2, with C to E being 5x minus 14. Alright, and they're saying that AE, the entire thing, is 92. So how do we solve this? Well, this is actually pretty simple, because we can see, even though on the top right here, we don't have the full length of the number line, we have it on the bottom right here. Because A to C is 5x minus 14 and C to E is 5x minus 14. Meaning we're going from one end to the other end. So all we have to do is say that this part, A to C, which is 5x minus 14, plus this part, C to E, which is also 5x minus 14, equals 92. So when you combine the like terms, that's 10x minus 28 equals 92. So that becomes 10x is equal to 120, which means x equals 12, and that's your answer. Next, number 36. What is the percent of decrease if the quantity 40 changes to the quantity 12? Alright, the way we calculate decrease is simply just we take the difference between the first number and the last number, which is 40 minus 12. So in this case, that's 28. And we divide this value by the first number, which is 40. So that the rate of decrease, or the percent of decrease, is just 28 over 40. Now, all we have to do is simplify this into a percent. So we're going to do that by doing division. So let's do that. So 28 divided by 40. Okay, so 40 goes into 2, it doesn't, right? So that's 0. Does 40 go into 28? It doesn't do that either, so that's another 0. Now we're going to go into the decimals. Does 40 go into 280? I know this is 28.0, but we're going to treat it like 280. So does 40 go into 280? Yes, it does. It goes in 7 times. So we're going to subtract 280, because 40 times 7 is 280. And we're left with a remainder of 0, which means that the percent of decrease is 0.7. And a percent, 0.7 is 70%. And that's your answer. Next, number 37. Which linear equation below has an x-intercept of negative 6? Alright, so how do we find the x-intercept? Well, let's take a look at a graph. So on a graph, the x-intercept occurs when the y value, right? So this is the y-axis right here from this line. The y value is at 0, which is this line, or the x-axis right here. So when this y value is at 0, so anywhere along this line, that just means that that value is the x-intercept of the linear equation. So how do we find that in this? Well, all we're going to do is we're just going to set every single value of y to 0 and then see which one solves to x equals negative 6. So let's do that. So let's start with a. So a, that's 2x plus 6y equals negative 12. Alright, so we have 2x plus 6y equals negative 12. We have to set y to 0 to find it. So when we set y to 0, that kind of just gets rid of it, right? So now we have 2x equals negative 12. And when we divide both sides by 2 to get rid of this coefficient, this becomes x equals negative 6, which means that's your answer right here. Number 38. If f of x is equal to 5x squared and g of x is equal to 17 minus 3x, then what is the value of g of f of negative 2? Alright, this is actually a pretty simple problem. So we have g of f of negative 2, correct? So what we first have to do is we have to use this function first, f of negative 2. So how do we do that? Well, we have the function f of x is equal to 5x squared. And in this, we're passing the value of negative 2 as x, which means you would also pass it here. So f of negative 2 is equal to 5 times negative 2 squared. So according to order of operations, you always do exponents first. So negative 2 squared, that's negative 2 times negative 2, which is positive 4. Because when you multiply negatives, the result is always positive. So this becomes 4. Now it's just 5 times 4, which is 20. So this g of f of negative 2, right? This f of negative 2 is just 20 now. So now we are left with g of 20. We have to solve what that is. So how do we do that? Well, we see that g of x is equal to 17 minus 3x. And we're passing the value of 20 for x, which means we would also pass it here. So g of 20 is equal to 17 minus 3 times 20. 3 times 20 is 60. So this is 17 minus 60, which is negative 43. And that's your answer. Next, number 39. If x squared is less than or equal to 225, what is the sum of all positive integers x that satisfy the inequality? Alright, so this problem we have x squared is less than or equal to 225. And we're trying to find all the positive integers that satisfy this inequality with the sum of all of them, which means you would add all of them. Alright, the first thing we can know is that x, no matter what, is going to be greater than 0 because it's this positive integer. Now the second thing we have to find is what x is less than. The way we're going to do that is we're going to use this, right? So x squared is less than or equal to 225. So to find what x is less than or equal to, we can just square root both sides of the equation, which makes x less than or equal to 15. Alright, so now that we know that x is greater than 0 and less than or equal to 15, we can find all the numbers. So we can just do 1 is greater than 0, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, then 7, then 8, then 9, then 10, then 11, then 12, then 13, then 14, then 15. Alright, so now let's add all of them. So 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 3 is 6, 6 plus 4 is 10, 10 plus 5 is 15, 15 plus 6 is 21, 21 plus 7 is 28, 28 plus 8 is 36, 36 plus 9 is 45, 45 plus 10, that's 55, 55 plus 11, that's 66, 66 plus 12, that's 78, 78 plus 13, that's 91, 91 plus 14, that's 105, and 105 plus 15 is 120, and that's your answer. Next, number 40. 1 pencil and 1 marker cost $3, and 2 pencils and 3 markers cost $7.75. How much do 5 pencils cost? Well, let's see. So let's say that 1 pencil, or just pencils in general, right? Pencils is P, and markers is M. So in the first statement, they're saying that 1P, or just P by itself, right? P plus 1 marker, which is just M by itself, equals $3, right? And they're saying that 2 pencils, so 2P, plus 3 markers, so 3M, equals $7.75. Now they're asking us to find the value of 5 pencils. To do that, we first have to solve for the value of pencils. Well, how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to use something called a system of equations. So we have 2 equations here, both of the same variables, P and M. So what we're going to do is, we want to solve for P, so we're going to cancel out the M from both of these equations and add them together at the same time. Now how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to take this top equation and multiply it by 3. That way, this M value becomes 3M, which is the same as this one right here. So when we do that, that becomes 3P plus 3M equals 9. And then we have our bottom equation, which is 2P plus 3M equals 7.75. Alright, so now what we can do is we can subtract this equation from the top one. So 3p minus 2p, that's just p. Then 3m minus 3m, that cancels out. And then finally 9 minus 7.75, that is 1.25. Alright, so now we know that 1 pencil is $1.25. So they're asking us to find how much 5 pencils cost. So that's just 5 times 1.25. Okay, so 5 times 1, that's just 5. And 5 times 0.25, that's just 1.25. So when you add them together, that's 6.25, and that's your answer. Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please make sure to show your support. These videos take a lot of effort to make, and I would really appreciate it.